Hello YouTube, we're finally done with this. I may build something where my finger is to keep this up against there like a miniature fence. So as you come off this, it stays. You see how it wobbled there? I suppose you can go like this. I like to go one direction. This is turning this way, so you can't stand over here. You go like that, it's going to fly in the air. And I have experimented with putting this up like this. This little piece of 1/8" steel. It's not going to turn out the way you think it will. You can go, I went 3 different directions. It's not going to do what you think it would. And I don't want to use this to take rust or anything off, because there is some rust in there. This had a little bit of rust on the edge, because this is a rounded edge, and then that was cut just with a, that was cut just with a grinder, so I could see it showed a little dust up in there. Okay, we also made another wheel, so I have a spare one of these. 400 grit sandpaper. It had a pattern I peeled off, but still was sticky, so I went ahead and used the glue that was still on there and put this on there. This is 3M pinkish pro grade sandpaper. I read it backwards. Made in Canada. This is really nice paper. I really like this. I'd recommend this paper to anybody. You can probably read that backwards. Can't read it through the. Don't have no stock in the company, but you can read that backwards. I'll pause. Really nice stuff. I really like this. I've done some fine finish work with this. Okay, we'll shut this off. I got my heater going on the other side of the shop. This disc is a 325 grit. This one was used when I used it as a rock machine, so it still has the dust on it. I need to wash it. This is a 170. That's really coarse. I mean, it's probably here. I mean, that's really some rough stuff. But I want to try to wash that stuff out first. But these, if I remember right, were over $25 a plate. So they're not cheap. So I'm glad I'm repurposing the machine into something I enjoy. But it's 90 degrees, best I can tell with this little thing. And I have another square, it's a protractor thing, but for cheap this is pretty accurate, so it's close enough for me. The gap isn't exact this way. It's the best I can get it. This is not going to be for precise stuff. You can probably even see it on camera. We'll take some pictures. I got kind of lucky. That's 1" angle iron. Here's another piece. It's been narrowed down to fit in there. Brazed, these pieces were brazed. I double netted this little bolt, and this is the only way I could think to do this. See if we can spin around here. But the tap I had, no bottom tap, and that's only 1/2 inch. I just tapped all the way through. You could put some epoxy in there and smooth it out, but it's not going to bother me. It's really nowhere where you work. And I used 2 sizes bigger drill bit to countersink that. Chamfer the hole. So it's 2 sizes bigger. So whatever it was 2/64 up from 3/8 bit. To make sure that's nice, and I've sanded it. I've got like little sanding blocks. I mean, I went through and it's level. So if you get something big on there, it's not going to drag. But that's about all I can say about it. I'll snap some pictures, and someday we'll have this in a video when we're making some little project. Spinning around here a little more. Did drill a little hole for a little zip tie. I just use butt connectors on here and heat shrink tubing. Nothing's really rubbing, touching where I have to worry about it rubbing on anything. It's not going to be that much vibration on anything. But there you go. Excuse me. cold, wet, rainy weather. I'll never run it like that. That's just too. Here's about where I usually run it. You can run it at a pretty slow speed. We'll get it where it just kicks on. So you can run it at a pretty slow speed. But this is where I'm experimenting. This is about halfway in the variac. The voltage has never been real accurate. 55, 60 volts, so you know that's like half 120 volts. This variac goes to probably 130 volts. There you go, a finished product. So I may make a little fence right over here. Good enough. You stick something in here long like this, it's not going to work. You end up being over here. You end up trying to do half of it. So this piece is about 4 inches. So you start getting in that, you're going over center. It just didn't work right. But it's good enough for hobby use. Make stuff out of metal. I do like brazing stuff. It's a little more cleaner welding when I make some little projects. That's why most of this was brazed together. Easier to clean up your mess. I think that's enough demo of it. Like I said, you're always going to miss in the middle here. You don't want to get here where it throws it up. You don't want to go like this and have, see? You don't want to do that on a disc sander. Not an expert, I just know better. But there you go, kind of a long video. Battery symbols even go low. So thanks for watching. I'll include some photos here.